welcome back to the Beach Bum Bookworm. I am Tiffany. I'm so glad y'all found me today. My channel is all about cozy mysteries and romance books, and today I'm doing one of my favorite videos of the month. I love doing these. It is what I read, because I just get to talk about the books that I read this month. That's it. It's so much fun. I love it. So remember to let me know what you read, what you're looking forward to reading, anything else that you want to talk about. If you have any questions about the books, any of your thoughts, put them down there in the comments. On your way down to comment, don't forget to stop, hit the subscription and the notification bell, because that's going to tell you when I put out new videos each and every single week. All right, let's get right into it. My June, I was about to say July. No, it's my June. We're in July. Cozy Mystery wrap up. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so the first one I read, I might have accidentally included in my last wrap up, so like my May wrap up, but it was the first book I read in June. So if I talked about it, I talked about it. I'm going to talk about it again. It's that good anyways. It's okay to hear about it twice. It is Theater Nights Are Murder. It is right here. This is the 4th book in the Poppy McAllister series by Libby Klein, and let me just tell you, it is this series. I just finished number 5. Like when I say just finished, like last night, I just finished number 5. And this is officially on my favorites list, this series. I absolutely love it. So in Theater Nights Are Murder, Poppy is still baking away her gluten-free treats. There's still the love triangle between Gia and Tim. And so that's not resolved just yet. But now we have some romance going on with good old Aunt Jenny. So Aunt Jenny's, I don't think he was a high school. Oh, maybe it was from high school. High school, college, years ago, old boyfriend comes back into town. He is a retired Broadway star, and he is coming back to star in a production of Mamma Mia at the senior citizen facility. Jenny is trying out for parts, but she's starting to wonder what's going on and why Royce would come back. The play is set to open the day before Valentine's Day, February 13th, and things just keep going awry. Meaning, you're starting to think that they're starting to think the production's cursed. So things are going missing, sabotage, all those crazy things. And, Jenny and the Aunt Biddies are just besides themselves. You know how they are. If you don't, that means you haven't read the books, and you need to, because they're fabulous. So in the midst of all the sabotaging and everything to what seems to be get the play shut down, someone is killed. And Poppy and the Biddies, through, the fact that she just can't get them to stop, want to help in the investigation. So good. I can't say it enough. It is so good. And number 5, I can't wait to talk about that in my next roundup. I gave this one 4.5 cups of coffee. I rate my cozies in cups of coffee because that's like the coziest thing in the world to me, is a good cup of coffee with all the good stuff in it. I love coffee. So cozy. So 4.5 cups of coffee, amazing. I feel bad that I have to go from what I was just talking about to this. Actually, okay. So I finished Triple Chocolate Cheesecake Murder. It is right here. This is by JOANNE FLUKE. I was about to say Hannah Swinson, which is the character, of course. Hannah Swinson Mystery Series. Number 27. At this point, I'm just reading these books because I can't give up on either JOANNE FLUKE or Hannah Swinson. I've said this many times, but this was the first ever cozy mystery series that I read, and in the beginning, like the first multiple books, we've went over this multiple times in the lives and other places, were amazing. I mean, amazing. And then things have derailed, and derailed hard. And then they feel like they start getting repaired, and I don't know. It's not just the plot, and it's not just the endless love triangle. And I was so frustrated that we could have ended the love triangle. There was a perfect opportunity for her to do so, and instead, she didn't. She didn't. And I don't, for me, that was just a really point of contention. I cannot believe that we went right back to the love triangle between Mike and Norman. Let me tell you what this one's about, and then I'll tell you my biggest pet peeve with this one that I had not noticed in her other books. Guys, Hannah Swenson holds a special place in my heart, so this is even hard for me because first ever cozy, and I loved this series. Y'all have no idea. It was one of my favorites for such a long time, probably from till book number 10, 12. I loved it. All right, so this one, it's Easter, and the mayor is murdered. And I was really shocked by that because the mayor's been a fairly central character in a lot of the Hannah Swenson series over the years. And it just seems so nonchalant. They're like, yeah, the mayor's dead. Right after Andrea had gotten into a altercation with him. And at the end of that altercation, she slaps him across the face. We always kind of knew the mayor was, not a nice guy. And he was not the best husband and all these things. We've seen that over the years. But I was really surprised at they're just like, oh yeah, the mayor's dead. And there wasn't this bigger reaction to it. I don't know. That's not my gripe. My biggest gripe is in the last couple books, there's been dialogue problems. I've talked about that. The dialogue sometimes is so juvenile. It feels like it's written as young chapter books. If you've ever went back and read young chapter books for kids that are just starting to read on their own independently, that's what some of the dialogue feels like. It's almost offensive. And JOANNE FLUKE is a very talented writer, so it should not be happening. But in this one, we started seeing this weird dialogue with Hannah having fights in her thoughts. She's like, rational me says this. Ooh, irrational me. Or I can't remember how she referred to it, but it was devil angel sort of thing. But it came out of nowhere, and it was almost the whole book, and it's just all in her dialogue. So it feels I didn't care for it. I hope that doesn't continue. It was very awkward to me. I don't even know what I want to rate this book. So I'm just going to move on. Because at this point, I don't know what I would exactly rate it. But I do know this. If there's a number 28, I will read it. I can't help it. I will not give up on this series. That's my overall arc of this whole conversation. I'm never going to give up on this series. It really does hold a special place in my heart. All right. I've said it enough. I've talked about it enough. Let's move on. So the next one I read was Murder, She Knit. It is right here. This is the first book in the Knit and Nibble series by Peggy Earhart. This was one of our knockout books. So in this one, we have Widow. Pamela is our main character, and she is the editor of a craft magazine, although you really never see her work. I always find that funny in books where this is their profession, but you never see them do their profession, but you're following them around in their daily life for quite a while. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if y'all's jobs are that way, but I don't think that that's really realistic. But okay, that's neither here nor there. So she needs some time. She needs something to fill up her time. She's lonely. Her only daughter has left for college. So she starts this, this is amazing. She starts this knit and nibble club. So it's like a book club, only it's knitting and snacks. And that sounds amazing, except I don't knit. I crochet. Can I come and crochet? Because if I could come and crochet, I'd be there. So she's hosting this Knit Nibbles. She runs into this woman that she was old friends with, and she invites her to come to the club. And by the end of the night, the newcomer is dead. She was stabbed with a knitting needle, which this is also neither here nor there, but I just thought that was kind of bizarre because I've always read or heard that like how hard it is to actually like even puncture someone with a knife. I'm thinking a knitting needle is pretty dull, I would think. Anyways, so she is stabbed with this knitting needle, killed. And of course, Pamela is going to figure out what is going on. She feels very guilty. There's knitting tips in here. There's recipes in here. I gave this overall 3 cups of coffee. Although I can't wait to read the second one, and I will be reading the second one, I did think a couple things. I would love to see more either town involvement, and we really get to see the town and what goes on in it and the community as a whole. And I thought that there needs to be, as far as characters, a couple more like really zany, quirky side characters. It's okay if somebody doesn't want to do that. They don't have to appease me, but for Cozy to really work for me, I need really strong characters and a really strong like community atmosphere and setting. And I didn't feel like we got that in this first one. However, the reason I'm reading the second one is because 1, I enjoyed this, and 2, I think that's what development is all about. So we might definitely see that in the second one. And I, for one, can't wait to read it. So I'm excited about it. The next one that I read was Fortune and Glory, right here. This is by Stephanie Plum. I know people argue whether this is a cozy mystery or not, but I'm including it in my cozy mysteries because that's where I want to include it. This is by Janet Ivanovich. It is number 27, which means I am caught up in the series. So in this one, it kind of takes off exactly where we left, number 26. People are still pursuing Grandma Mazer from the wedding. So she had married this kind of mob guy, and he dies like the day of the wedding. She was married for like 45 minutes. Poor Grandma Mazer. And they think that she has something at Jimmy's that's got a treasure in it or money in it or whatever. So they've been after her for a while. This one picks up right there where it's left off. This is the normal shenanigans, everything that you would expect from a Hannah Swenson series. There's cars being destroyed. There's attending of funerals, meals at the Berg with mom and dad. There's grandma, there's Lula, everything you would expect from a Stephanie Plum. And personally, everything I love about a Stephanie Plum. The one thing I do want to say, and that I'm very excited about, is that there was a mystery character in this book that I believe is going to be a new character and new spinoff series. I can't swear to that, but I really think that's where we're going, and I'm very, very intrigued and excited about that. This one I gave, no surprise, 4 cups of coffee. It's a comfort read for me. I absolutely love them. I know what I'm going to get when I read them, and that's what I expect when I read them. So the next one I read was called Yarn to Go. It is right here. This is by Betty Heckman. This was the other knockout book. So Yarn to Go, this one faced off against the book that I just spoke about, Murder She Knit by Peggy Earhart. So in this one, we have Casey. Casey is all over the place with jobs and career and school, and she never kind of really sticks to anything. And her aunt has just suddenly, unexpectedly passed away. And her aunt was running a yarn retreat business. And at first, Casey doesn't want anything to do with it because she doesn't knit. She's like, I don't know anything about this. But she decides to go on the yarn retreat and everything like that. And she realizes that although she doesn't knit, she can help these characters in other ways along the way. somebody dies. And then she starts like thinking about several other previous deaths, like 2 other previous deaths and her aunt's death, and whether they're all connected, and was there more going on than what had been previously thought. She starts working with this private eye, Frank, I believe, that she had worked with in the past. I really enjoyed this. I really can't wait for the second one to come out. The second one is out. I'm sorry. This was a already going series. We just read the first one because we're not going to start anywhere else in this series. I gave it 3.5 cups of coffee. The things that I do love about it, I thought that the idea of a yarn retreat was so cool. The idea of any retreat is really cool. If it's a hobby that I'm interested in, like, yes, let's do that. I don't knit, but again, I crochet. Can I come along to crochet? I'm there. The characters there's some things I loved about them and some things I didn't. When I say I didn't, I thought that there needs to be more kind of quirky, zany characters. Same thing I said about one of the other cozies. But what I loved about these characters is they each had their own thing going on, but they were able to come together for the love of knitting. And I thought that was really cool. One of the other things I thought was really cool was her aunt had left each of them their own project that was special to them. And I thought that was really, really a cool addition to the series, to the book. I really enjoyed that. I want to see, I already mentioned the characters, but I also want to see more town development, more retreat development. I think this could be amazing. And maybe number 2 does just that. And I can't wait to check it out. The next book I read was Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse. It is right here. This is by Lee Goldberg. It was our June's book club pick. So June was subscriber pick. So we took everybody's suggestions. We put them in a box. We drew them out. And we got Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse. So this one is the first book, of course. And there was so much in this book. Mr. Monk solved, like, first of all, like 30 crimes. It was insane. There was multiple murders. There was muggings. There was blackmail. There was Mr. Monk digging through trash. Just, I mean, you name it. And then you have everything else that comes along with Mr. Monk. I enjoyed it. I've watched some of the series. I haven't watched a whole lot of it, but I've watched some of it. And I thought that the book did Mr. Monk a little more justice in terms of, I felt like he was more empathetic with people. And just, I really, really enjoyed him in this, and I enjoyed the book. But I gave it 4 cups of coffee. If you like the show, I think that you'll really, really like the series. I think you could like it even more than the show for just the reason I mentioned. I do want to say I'm going to give a warning for the death of a dog. And I mean, it's solved, but I want to throw that out there for people. The next book I read was called Booked for Trouble. It is right here. This is the second book in the Lighthouse Library series by Eva Gates. So in this one, Lucy's kind of adapting to her new surroundings, her new job in the Lighthouse Library, her apartment. So Lucy works at the town library, which is in a lighthouse. And on the 3rd floor of the lighthouse, there's an apartment, and Lucy gets to live in it. I am so jealous of Lucy. I know she's fictional, guys. I know. Still jealous of her. So she's, like I said, adjusting, adapting, and her mother comes to visit, Susan. And she is there to, although she doesn't say so right away, she's got ulterior motives, and you find out later she's there to talk Lucy into coming back to Boston. However, while she's there, her mother is very snooty, very uppity. I'm not making my own generalizations on this woman. That is how she is talked about in the book. She runs into some old acquaintances, and one of the acquaintances she runs into, Karen, who is a maid, and her have this really public argument. They make up later at a book club, but nobody sees it. So then Karen ends up dead. And of course, because of the public argument, they mark Suzanne as the number one suspect. I absolutely love this series. It's on my SAS list. Almost all these books are on my SAS list. Thank you, Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I love the characters. I love the character that's always trying to push music on people. I love that we're in a library. I love that we're in a library that's in a lighthouse. That is absolutely amazing. I can't get past that. This series is... I'm really, really enjoying it. Can't wait for the next one that I need to read in the series. I gave this one 4 big cups of coffee. The next book I read is Espresso Shot. It is right here. This is by Cleo Coyle. It is number 7 in the Coffee House Mystery series. So in this one, Mateo is getting married, and there is somebody who wants his wife, Brienne, dead. And I don't know how I can describe it without giving too much away. I don't know if this is in the synopsis or not. I'm very sorry. But basically, somebody is a Brienne lookalike and gets killed. Let's just leave it at that. This is Cleo Coyle. I think they're a husband-wife team at their best. This series is phenomenal. I love every edition I read in this series, and this one was no different. I gave it 4.5. Big cups of coffee. If you have not checked it out, check it out. This one's really interesting because I don't feel like it's as much of a traditional cozy as most cozies. For one, it takes place in New York City. So that in itself is a little bit different because most of our cozies take place in small towns. So good. And the amount of coffee knowledge you will get from this series is great. And if you're really a coffee lover, I find it so fascinating. It is amazing. The next one I read was The Diva Haunts the House. It is right here. This is number 5 in the Domestic Diva series by Miss Krista Davis. I love this series. This one was no different. So it's Halloween, and I love Halloween. I love holiday cozies. I do love Halloween, but I don't love the scary stuff about Halloween. Y'all know me, I'm a scaredy cat. I love the concept of Halloween. If we could all have fun little cozy costumes and hay rides and mazes, I would want it to be Halloween all year round. But the other stuff, not so much. I feel like there's enough bad things that I don't want to, All right, so in this one, Sophie is creating a community haunted house, and of course, Natasha can't be outdone. If you don't know this series, these two women are constantly butting heads. There's a lot of connection between these two women, including Sophie's ex-husband is with Natasha. There's a lot going on that could be delved in and layers ripped off that. But just know, Natasha's a real pain in the tootie. But Natasha's a pain in the tootie in the way that you want her to be. There are times when she's over the top and you're just like, gosh, she's a mean woman. But she's meant to be mean and not in it's still done in a way where I can laugh at her. Or laugh at the absurdity of it. I don't know. Krista Davis just does it really well. So Natasha doesn't want to be outdone, so she starts throwing a Halloween party at her house, and a dead body is found, and actually somebody is seen running away from the scene with fangs. So now everybody thinks that there's real vampires in this town and that they're killing people, and it was hilarious and so much fun. It was one of my favorites of the series. I can't say it was my favorite only because I've read these books so spread out. I know I've loved all of them, but I couldn't tell you that this one was my absolute favorite because of memory of the other ones. I gave it 4.5 cups of coffee, so I really, really enjoyed it. So much fun. That was my last cozy mystery of the month of June. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed what you read. And until next time, may all your future reads be 5 stars. Bye, everyone.